Yeah, tough game, playing against a really good side. Like I said before, we knew it was going to be a tough battle. First half, we weren't good enough with and without the ball. But second half, I thought we come out, we pressed well, we got the goal. Disappointing, obviously, the way we considered the second, but we carried on fighting, we carried on pressing, and thankfully we got one at the end there.
What was the problem first half?
Yeah, just we was a bit late when we was pressing, and they're against good sides, they punish you. You know, we wanted to come and almost play man for man, and just a little bit late. If you're second late in these games, you get punished, and then with the ball, we don't really keep it as well as we know we can. So yeah, we had to adapt. Second half, we changed the formation a little bit, and it definitely worked out better in the second half.
Was their system frustrating you, particularly in that first period?
Yeah, no, they was getting into spaces, especially when they had us in the low block. It was hard to get any pressure on. They create kind of overloads on the wide areas. It was hard for Sessi, especially on that side, to press up to Reece. So we ended up getting camped in a little bit, and then every time we won it back, press up to Reece. So we ended up getting camped in a little bit, and every time we won it back, they was kind of keeping us pressed. But yeah, like I said, I'm happy with the way we fought back, especially second half. And
face when you scored.
Yeah, I kind of flicked it, and then I couldn't really see where the ball went, and I just see the net rustling, and then obviously right in front of our away fans there. So especially after that chance I had earlier in the second half, it was nice to see that one go in.
Because of what's at stake today, it's so early in the season, but it's a Champions League place rival, and also you have to say the rivalry between these two sides, was it vital you came away with something?
I think it was a really important game for us, just to show where we are as a team. Of course, it's a marathon this season, not a sprint. We've got a long way to go with a World Cup in between. So, but I think it was important, especially after last season, losing I think 5 or 6 times to them in Cup and Premier League. So, yeah, away from home at Stamford Bridge hasn't been our best place over the years. So, to come away with a point, especially at the end, is a good feeling.
Both managers' red card at the end of the game. Do you know what caused it to both managers' red card?
Gathering at the end there, and yeah, obviously disappointing. Obviously, it's an emotional game, London derby. The passion from both sides. Obviously, both teams wanting to win. So yeah, like I said, disappointed, but that's just sometimes what happens in these games.
Great stuff, Harry. Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Thank you.
Hit it right up there for a Spurs player to score on the 96-minute equaliser at the Bridge in front of your own fans.
No, probably. You know, he was still too much upset.
Even you, cool, calm and collected, must have got there on a Monday and gone, what did I do that for? What was I doing?
Me and Tony Pulis, when I was Wolves manager, well, it was ridiculous, you know, and you look back and you think it was down the tunnel and everything, and it went on and on, and you look back and you think it was down the tunnel and everything, and it went on, and I'm thinking afterwards, what on earth? You become a different person. It's ridiculous. That's what that technical area does, is quite incredible, because the crowds are obviously, the friction of the crowds, it's always there, the willingness for Chelsea to hold on to this sort of record at the Bridge, all these things come into it, and the two managers, they had a little spat before, didn't they? And I think it was just boiling over, waiting to happen. But you can't, human nature tells you when things like that, you can't stand there and just walk up and say, oh, nice game, let's go down the tunnel and have a glass of wine. That's not going to happen. It was like frantic. It was, and I think something was done there with the handshake. I think Tuchel's got in with a real strong, you know.
Also, Glenn, I think we don't have to underestimate the importance of this game. It's one of the classic games, so there is a lot of rivalry between the two clubs. But also, when two teams like this, they face each other, they're looking for dominance on each other. They want to send a sign on the other one, to the other one. And Chelsea was doing that, and at the last minute, they saw themselves giving a point away because that's the way they feel, and so it must be very, very painful.
I think what was interesting as well, Spurs come back into it by getting bodies up the pitch a little bit, where they went into a 4, which is unlike Conte, put Richarlison pitch a little bit, where they went into a 4, which is unlike Conte, put Richarlison on and put 2 up top with Kane, and they got bodies forward, and there was a lot of substitutions coming on, which proves to me that Seaman's come on, Perisic has come on, Mora came on. There was a lot of changes, but you didn't lessen your team, in actual fact. It still stayed at a better, a decent level. But Spurs have got to play better than that overall. Of course they have. And as I said before, you play a little bit indifferent, you get dominated by your opponents, but you get a point. A little bit indifferent, you get dominated by your opponents, but you get a point out of the game. Away from home, they'll be happy with that.
And the moral of the story is, don't upset fiery Italians. Is that right, Gianfranco?
Never.
Never.
With my colleague here, that before the Tottenham cannot find the right time, the right space to come out with the ball, and Chelsea, on the other hand, when they never lose it. They're always creating some step in the game. Actually, Tottenham didn't step in the game so far.
No, and the goal that was conceded was a pattern, wasn't it? A terrific finish from Koulibaly, but you're not happy from a Tottenham point of view.
No, Koulibaly is a great finish, don't get me wrong, but it's you can't allow a big centre-back like that to come in and just be as free. Allow a big centre-back like that to come in and just be as free as he could be. Andy said on commentary, he could have come in and had a thunderous header. He was on his own. There's too many players at the near post, but you can't give why Spurs have got so many overloads and screening. You've got Son there with two players outnumbered there, and Koulibaly all on his own, nobody blocking him off. The zonal marking doesn't work for me here. They're all over the place, and consequently they get absolutely punished. It's great technique, I've got to say, from the centre.
No, it's fantastic technique. The reason I think they put so many players in the first post is because statistically you concede more goals. That is the most dangerous area on corner kicks and free kicks. So many coaches, they put the best headers in that zone. But sometimes, like in this case, the best headers in that zone. But sometimes, like in this case, if the ball goes to the back post and you have somebody that hits the ball so well, then it can be a problem.
It's a classic though, where you've got to have leadership on the pitch sometimes. There's no Chelsea player in there. There's three players for Spurs in a triangle, screening the front post. If there's, hey, one of you get out of there, somebody slides onto Son then slides onto Koulibaly, and you get the pressure that you needed. But that's on the pitch management, and it wasn't there.
And you've seen further evidence again. It's not just been once, Glenn, has it?
No, this is... You're thinking, have they learnt any lessons from this? If they've done it yesterday or the day before on the training ground, but you have to be alert to something that's a danger. Look, Koulibaly's on his own again. Now, Sessegnon gets there, but he's not really aware of him. He gets there and puts him off a little bit, but that could easily end up in the top corner, and you've lost 2 goals to the same corner kick.
Yeah, sometimes it's not easy because if you...
corner kick.
Yeah, sometimes it's not easy because if you prepare the whole week, to defend corner kicks in a way to change during the game, it's not an easy thing. I would say that on top of that, the awareness of the play should be better. In the first corner, there is no reaction on the long ball where sometimes he avoid something, but obviously he avoids something, but obviously. You have to be more switched on in those situations.
Why haven't Tottenham had a forward threat in that first half, Glenn?
They cut with Gianfranco and I was and MRBEAR. The key was going to be they're having to go a little bit long. The ball's coming straight back, and Chelsea have dictated with the ball and defensively. They've pressed really high, similar to how Brentford did it against Man United yesterday. And you look at this as well. This is key. Reece James has been told. Tuchel said to him, Son's the danger man. I want you to almost man mark him. Even if he goes in the centre of the pitch, you'll see him. He's following him in. That's my job today. And then Loftus-Cheek has to eventually go and press the ball or defend when he needs to. But that is a key. He's looked at Son and said, stop him playing and we get a chance. Well, they haven't had a chance to go. And again, Gianfranco, he goes in again there.
Yeah. No, but you can see here the movements, the pressure that the Chelsea players are putting on Tottenham players is unbelievable. They're covering every single. They are not leaving anybody free, and the one that is free, they are not leaving anybody free, and the one that is free that gets the ball is put under pressure immediately with such an intensity. Look at here. There is no space. Only in this situation you have to be brave enough to take the player that is pressing you on and create a superiority. But nobody is doing so.
That was really good defending from Loftus-Cheek. Now that's the reason why Tuchel said to Reece James, going faced up against Reece James, he's gone by him for pace. And Tottenham have got to get him the ball in those positions, or he's got to work harder to get in those positions. Every time he's tried to receive it, Reece James has got him going back towards his own goal. So once you see him faced up, he's a different story. He's a different player.
An improvement needed then from Tottenham to change their recent record.